Okay then, let's get the cracking on with this. Hello everybody and welcome once again to Poddywood. We're back for series 6. Yes, because you can't keep a good pair of blokes down. But it's not just us this season. We've also got our 2 new co-hosts, Joanne and Jonas. But you're going to be hearing more from them in the later episodes. For now, let me introduce myself. I am one of your co-hosts, Steve Hester. And joining me as always is Andrew Roger Carson, because he complains that I never introduce him. So hi, Andrew.
You'll find I don't complain about that till next week. But fair enough. But yeah. No, well, thank you for that warm introduction in season 6.1, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, Poddywood is back. And we have recorded a few episodes up front. And this being one of them, but you will notice the next episode we have, Joanne will be co-hosting it with myself. And I was incredibly ill. There was...
Yes. You looked like you'd seen a really, really bad film and was regretting it.
Oh, God. I've seen a few of them. But, no, I'm just recovering now. So luckily we're getting this one out. So I still look kind of a bit palish and like I haven't been out because I haven't.
No.
But
you need to get in the sun.
Yeah. I am here. We've got a new series and we're going to take the money and run. And speaking of taking the money and run, Steve.
Oh, yes.
We've got to open this episode with something that's been waiting for God knows how long.
Oh, God, this has to be in the pipeline for about the last month and a half with one thing and another, because we've had a break and then we've had a couple of other shows that we've recorded in the meantime, plus it's predating the end of the last series that we did. So yeah, this is let's sound the 2007 alarm. It is Joel and Ethan Coen's No Country for Old Spice Men.
No Country for Old Men, yes.
No.
As you can see, this film has been out a long time, but Steve had never seen it before, just recently.
No, but it was on my to-watch list. Now, you've pulled out a lot of movies over the time that we've been doing this, and I've either never heard of them, never wanted to see them, or they've just kind of not really filtered into my wheelhouse. This is actually one which I have been wanting to see for a while, but I've just never got round to it. So I was looking forward to this, but before I get into this movie, I just want to say one thing right off the bat. I fucking love the Coen Brothers.
Aren't they?
Oh my God.
Majestically perfect.
Was it Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, The Big Lebowski, Barton Fink, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Just all they're fan bloody tastic. I love them. They have just this incredible pacing to it. The acting is usually dynamite. They spare no expense getting just the right cast for the roles, and just everything is done with just this wonderful it's like hyper-realism, but grounded hyper-realism. That is a statement that makes no sense, but it's the only way that I can think of to describe these things. Like The Big Lebowski, for example, isn't a realistic film, yet everything kind of feels grounded for one bit, it's hyper in another, and it has this wonderful mesh. And I don't honestly think I've seen a Coen Brothers movie that I haven't liked.
No, it's really hard to find a terrible Coen Brothers movie. There aren't any.
Yeah.
There are ones that don't hold up to the
yeah,
others.
there are weaker ones than others, yeah.
But the Coen Brothers, they are so confident in what they're doing. I don't think anyone would ever dare touch them.
No.
I think they are free to just make the movies they want to make, and more on them. But anyway...
Yes.
You finally got around to seeing this version of Conrad McCormack.
McCormack's Is it McCormack or McCarthy?
I fucking got it wrong. It's Cormac McCarthy.
Thought so. Yes, Cormac McCarthy.
Cormac.
Yeah, it's first of all, great cast. You've got Tommy Lee Jones as an old school sheriff. You've got Josh Brolin as a guy called Llewellyn Moss who finds a drug deal that's gone wrong in the middle of the desert. Most of the people involved are dead, apart from one guy who was alive in a car, and then he tracks another guy that ran off to a shady spot and finds this great big bag full of money. But what he doesn't realize is that in this bag there is all kinds of trouble, because there is a shady company that wants the money back, that wants the drugs, and they have employed the devil himself, Anton Chigurh.
Oh, career-defining performance.
Just, inducingly by Javier Bardem, who is just one of, if not the most terrifying villains I've ever seen on screen, simply because that he is not your Hannibal Lecter kind of raving madman going in behind a shed. No, he is cold. He is charming as well. He is sadistic, but he is totally unpredictable.
Yes.
In what he does. And he's tracking down this suitcase full of money, which has a tracker in it. That becomes an important part. Actually, no, before we get any further on spoilers, if you've not seen it, just fast forward ahead a bit. And he comes head to head a number of times with Llewellyn. And one thing that I do want to say, and I haven't read the book, and I understand it is pretty close to the book from what I hear, but I don't think that there is a stupid character in this film. Maybe Llewellyn could be labelled a bit stupid for letting his conscience get the better of him at the beginning, but the fact is, every single step that every character takes within this movie is an intelligent one. It doesn't feel like anything is made purely reactionary. There's a scene where Llewellyn is trying to hide the case, and he doesn't just put it in a ventilation duct. He gets some string, ties it around the handle to the case, gets a pole, shoves the case into and down to one side this ventilation duct, and tucks the cable out of sight. Which you wouldn't think of. You just, throw it in there, but that's the first place that you look. He tucks it away out to one side. He sees a car and then thinks, I need to be careful here, and then gets a taxi driver to drive off and take him to another hotel for the night. It's smart things like that. And Anton Chigurh is exactly the same. He's very, very calculating. He's very, very deliberate. And he's constantly thinking about what is going to happen next. So there aren't any stupid leaps of logic. There's nothing really which makes you go, for God's sake, why did he do that? Everything works up to a point, and it doesn't really all get turned on its head until his mother-in-law blows the whole thing towards the end of the movie. But that is entirely out of his command. So yeah, I mean, it's an astonishingly good film. It's a very, very tense film. There's virtually no music throughout the whole thing. Everything is just played with the natural soundtrack to the film, which makes it even more tense. There is no trying to amp up the tension. It is just stillness and silence and long, drawn-out pauses, which you can feel the ratchet tightening every single second as it goes on throughout a scene, waiting for that just moment where the spring is going to snap and the Jack in the Box is going to burst out. I loved it. I thought this was great. Not too keen on the ending, but we will kind of touch on that in a bit, I think. I just want to give a few mentions though, because this did come out in 2007. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013.
Yes.
And there are a number of things in there that are direct references to the film. First of all, if you're driving down one highway, you can find a recreation of the little scene where the cartel is having the drug deal. And there's just a circle of vans with some bodies. And then if you do pick up the suitcase, then you do get chased and shot at, which is a nice little touch. Also, I think one of the trucks in that little circle is very, very similar to the character of Trevor's truck. It's like a red pickup truck with big headlights on the top.
But then again, that's America. They got these big pickup trucks with the headlights on the top here.
Getting very, very quickly back to the cast, Tommy Lee Jones doesn't really do much throughout the overall movie. He's a kind of a sounding board throughout it for some of the other characters and kind of bookends the story with his own take on things. But one of the big surprises was Woody Harrelson kind of pops up halfway through as another bounty hunter slash mercenary kind of guy who's warning this shady organization that they shouldn't have taken Chigga on. And he kind of comes into the story and then goes just as quickly. And I was actually quite surprised that he didn't have much more to do in it. But I really could just go on and on and on singing this movie's praises until the cows come home, but I haven't got that much time. No, I really enjoyed it.
I knew you would. I knew you would. I had a feeling for quite a while that you would enjoy this film. It's above perfection work for Ethan and Joel Coen.
Yeah.
And for kind of new movie-comers who may not have seen a lot of the older stuff from back in the early 2000s, who've kind of only got into cinema within the last 10 years, you know, Joel and Ethan Coen, they may have seen The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is awesome. Inside Llewellyn Davis, which is also awesome.
That's what I was thinking of, yeah.
Yeah, A Serious Man, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Yeah.
Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar, and they're all amazing films. But the older you go back with the Coens, you find just defining cinema that everyone loves, and this is one of them. And this followed a time where people were a little bit uncertain about the Coen brothers. They thought they were on a career downswing because they had Intolerable Cruelty, which I personally think is a great movie, but it didn't do as well. And then following that, they had the remake of The Lady Killers, which also didn't do as well as most of us.
Yeah, that didn't do well.
They are really great movies. And then this movie comes and just blows everything out of the water in 2007, including what I feel is just an equal movie from that year, which I don't believe you've seen, which is probably in the box as well, There Will Be Blood.
No, I haven't seen that one, no.
Which, funnily enough, was being filmed at the exact same time, only a couple of miles away from No Country for Old Men.
Right, so the Coens were drinking his milkshake then, were they?
I drink your milkshake.
I'm guessing so, but I can tell you what they were doing. Production had to be halted one day on No Country for Old Men because a huge black cloud of smoke was appearing in the sky in the background, and it was from a shooting day on There Will Be Blood when the actual oil tower goes on fire.
Right.
So that's how close they were. We mentioned Anton Chigurh. Of course, that role is now so iconic, and so is that haircut, I guess. Yeah. It has been labelled by Business Insider, funnily enough. They ran a bunch of polls, and apparently that performance is the most clinically accurate portrayal of a psychopath.
Yeah, I can believe it. For those of you who are interested, a psychopath is different from a sociopath. A sociopath doesn't know that they're being a dick.
Yes.
Whereas a psychopath does know that they're being a dick and just doesn't care. There is a difference.
I think that the best scene you could ever put out there, and we'll just include this here, the gas station scene.
Call it. Call it, yes. For what? Just call it. Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
You need to call it. I can't call it for you. Well, it wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, that was the scene that I saw first, in its entirety, and it is yet again no music, but it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and you know that it's almost like Chigurh's wanting the man to give him a reason. Just give me a reason. Give me a reason. I'll kill you right now without a sweat on my brow. Just give me a reason for it. And you can feel his heartbeat going up. But then there's that bit where he says, "No, don't put it in." He gives him the coin and says, "No, don't put it in your pocket, or it'll become a coin." Which it is.
Yeah. Which it is.
It's like, what the fuck do you want from me, mate?
It's just beautifully delivered. Also in this movie, we mentioned a bunch of roles there. Garrett Dillahunt is in this movie.
Is he the other sheriff?
Yes.
Yes.
Sci-fi fans will know him as the Terminator from Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and obviously the remake of Last House on the Left, and a whole bunch of stuff.
I honestly thought he was Peter Krause.
Loved you in Army of the Dead, Mr. Krause. Huh?
Yeah.
Asshole.
Lost Room was great. When's it getting a second series?
Yes. Well, Garrett Dillahunt actually auditioned for the Llewellyn Moss role several times.
All right.
And Heath Ledger was also sought for Llewellyn Moss as well. But he decided to go on and become the Joker instead.
Well, I don't think he regretted that.
No.
But no, Josh Brolin nails it. Because yet again, it's very understated. He's an ex-combat veteran. So nothing that he does is kind of, you know, that he's been under fire before, and all that terror is kind of, that's taken out of him.
He also nailed his audition for that role with help from Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez while on the set of Planet Terror, the Grindhouse.
I forgot he was in that.
Apparently, he got word that he could audition for this movie, and he asked Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez to help him with his audition video, and they did, and he ended up getting the job from his little audition reel.
What's the name of the woman that's in it? Because it took me a while to work out that she was the girl from Trainspotting.
Kelly McDonald.
Kelly McDonald, that's it. Yeah, small
in an
part,
absolutely fabulous role. She really worked. I mean, it's a great ensemble cast, and
totally.
You know, the writing is amazing, and you've really got to credit Cormac McCarthy for that, because all of the dialogue is exactly as it is in the book. So the Coens really did. I mean, there's some scenes that are obviously excised from the book. all of the dialogue is lifted verbatim. It really works for it. It won a whole slew of Oscars. Javier Bardem also broke the record. He was the first Spanish actor to ever win an Oscar.
Well, hijo de puta.
The movie, $25 million budget, went on to make $171 million. It was a raging success story. And not only that, nominated for 109 awards, won 76 of them. And I will also state that this is one of only 4 Westerns to win Best Picture.
Oh, okay. So, I'm going to say True Grit.
Nope.
The Searchers.
Nope.
High Noon.
No. My God.
Unforgiven.
Unforgiven is one.
Silverado.
Wrong. Are you just going to go through any Western that you have seen the most of?
Lightning Jack.
Movies. No, definitely not Lightning Jack. Okay, well, you had one for Unforgiven. The others would be Dances with Wolves, of course.
Okay.
And Cimarron was the other. It's in the box. I'm going to go on a limb here. This is probably the best film of the Coen Brothers. That's a high praise. And I love Miller's Crossing, and I love Barton Fink, and I love Lebowski. But this is one I will watch again and again and again and learn new things from it. It's been voted, it was the best film of the 2000s. It is also riding incredibly high as the best film of the 21st century.
Oh, wow. Now, that is a high bar.
That is a high bar, but it is on a lot of leading polls for that. Obviously, if you haven't seen this movie, it's worth it for Javier Bardem.
Oh, yeah.
It's worth it for that beautiful cinematography of Roger Deakins, which we haven't even mentioned, but it deserves it right up there. Your ensemble cast, Kelly MacDonald, Tommy Lee Jones, everyone plays it perfectly. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Not a wasted casting at all. Fantastic film. I'm not sure I will agree with you that it's the best. Definitely up there. I am a little bit predictable. I do prefer Big Lebowski.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Hard to beat.
Is
And
that
I've also got
because you are a registered
Dudist.
Dudist?
I am a registered Dudist minister. May your rug always tie the room together. Yes. No, I genuinely am. I went online and you can look up Dudism. Someone has made the Church of the Latter-day Dude, and I signed up. And it's just like a 5-minute form, and you go, there you go, you got a certificate at the end of it. It's like you can now register and perform marriages somewhere like in Montana or some shit like that. I don't know. It's great. If you want any discount weddings done in Las Vegas and you don't want to be married by Elvis, come see me. I'll do it for you. But yeah, no, I thought it was a great film. I really, really did. And yeah, it gave me the push to actually watch it, even though I was going to watch it eventually, but it gave me the push to actually properly.
And there is the first What's in the Box of Season 6, and a great way to start. Can it be beaten?
Totally.
We'll find out at the end of the show.
But for now, it's time for Andy to pull out some anniversaries.
We watch them again all of the time, or we get them on Prime for free. But we only know how old they are when we learn their anniversary.
Ah, yes. Anniversaries. Where would we be without celebrating movies of the past? We'd probably be on the picket lines. So, let's have a look at what we have on our anniversary section. As it's a special one, and it's our return, I have 4.
Okay. So what is the first one?
We'll go back 40 years, Steve.
Okay.
Can you believe, Steve? 40 years ago this week, National Lampoon's Vacation was released.
Okay. Not my favourite out of the Vacation films, controversially.
And
Yes.
it's directed by Harold Ramis.
I know it's directed by Harold Ramis. I know the script is based on an article or something that he wrote. I think it was him that wrote it, or someone wrote it for National Lampoon magazine, and then it was expanded into a movie.
Yes, it was. For those of you who recognize the name Harold Ramis, obviously you'll know him as Egon from Ghostbusters, also a writer of Ghostbusters, also the director of Groundhog Day. He played Russell in Stripes and was the writer of Stripes as well. And he was Seth Rogen's dad in Knocked Up. There you go.
I haven't seen Knocked Up, but that makes a lot of sense, funnily enough.
Oh, it's a good movie. It's in the box. Obviously, this was the introduction of the Griswold families, Chevy Chase, with Beverly D'Angelo, and an ever-changing slew of Rusty and Audreys that seem to change every single movie. Well, 1 minute it's Anthony Michael Hall and Juliette Lewis.
Yeah. I think Juliette Lewis was in Christmas Vacation, and it was whatever his name is that went on to play Leonard in Big Bang Theory.
Yes, that would be right. And this one, it's Anthony Michael Hall. Before his days at Weird Science and the Breakfast Club, he plays Rusty. I always say there's a very telling sign that there was reshoots on this movie months later, because he suddenly grows above his own mother in the movie, Beverly D'Angelo, in the Wally World ending. And we know the reason why. The original ending had the family drive to Roy Wally's house and take him hostage, something they used in Christmas Vacation about 7 years later.
Instead, they just took John Candy hostage instead.
Yes. But apparently the test audiences did not like this kind of dark ending. I guess hostage taking wasn't very big in 1983 until the Delta Force, I guess. So yes, it resulted in a reshoot with John Candy showing up for a $1 million payday.
Wow. What do you get to do? Oh, I get to go on some roller coasters. And how much are you getting paid? $1 million. Shit, man.
Yes. Obviously, the story
It's
is
a good
about...
gig. Don't take up that Nanook of the North script, whatever you do.
Oh, God, yeah, please don't. But yes, I mean, this is the story of the Griswolds family's perilous trip across the United States to Wally World on vacation. Fraught with disasters, fraught with plenty of zany characters like Randy Quaid, playing a person who is much more appealing than the real Randy Quaid.
The least said about that, really, the better, because Randy Quaid, at some point in life, did actually turn into Cousin Eddie, didn't he?
Evie, put this on.
Into a weird Twilight Zone version of Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie probed by aliens.
And his daughter in this movie was played by a very young Jane Krakowski. Did you know Harold Ramis is actually in this movie? And no, it's not Eugene Levy. He is there at the beginning.
Yeah, I know Eugene Levy is. Where does he show up? Is he like a voiceover or something?
Take
like
a guess.
On a telephone? Oh, God, it's been so bloody long since I've seen it. Is he like the voice of the Wally World speaker?
He is the voice of Marty Moose on the speaker at the end. Good guess. Yeah. So,
I don't remember actually seeing him, so he's the only other place he could possibly have been.
Well, for 1983, it's a modest budget of $15 million. It did go on to make $60 million, so it was a hit. And I think this was actually pitched to a number of places, because obviously this was following on from National Lampoon's movies like Animal House. I believe Caddyshack started out as a National Lampoon's movie also, but he ended up going separately with that. And it was Mark Canton, a name we know from Warner Brothers history, from Bill Daly's mention of Mark Canton over the years. He actually pulled for this movie at Warner Brothers and actually got it into production. Wally World, it's no secret, it's supposed to be
Disneyland. Yes.
Yes. Even Roy Wally looks like Roy Disney. Even Marty Moose is a double M.
It was about as subtle as a woke recasting.
Yes.
I could definitely tell you that it is not Disneyland, because I've been there and it looks absolutely nothing like it whatsoever. There's no kind of tunnel that you go into.
No, that's the Santa Anita racetrack.
Yeah.
The actual park was Six Flags in California.
All right. Now, I always preferred... This is going to sound sacrilegious, but I always preferred European Vacation to Vacation. I, as far as I'm concerned, though, out of all of them, Christmas Vacation is that's the best one. But yeah,
everyone's got the look for Christmas Vacation.
There's 3 films that you need to celebrate Christmas: Christmas Vacation, Scrooged, and Die Hard.
No Muppet Christmas Carol?
Nah, so the kids are up, really.
I'm a big fan of National Lampoon's Vacation. I do love it. It was a major part of my growing up. And one day in my life, I am going to take that entire trek that they did
across the USA.
Chicago. Oh yes, that song will certainly get tiresome if we played that all the way through.
Yeah. Who was the other song as well? Holiday Road. That's it.
Oh yes, yeah. The anthem of the Griswold family vacation.
That always kind of confused me because I didn't know who Fleetwood Mac were when I first saw the film. And I remember seeing, this song's by Lindsey Buckingham, and I was there thinking, but it's sung by a bloke.
Isn't that the guy of Saturday Night Live who does the What's Up With That scene? Shows up for everyone.
No, Lindsey Buckingham was one of the members of Fleetwood Mac, who's got a girl's name but is a guy, and then you've got Stevie Nicks, who's got a man's name but is a girl, and the two were in a relationship with each other, and they wrote most of those songs. And most of the songs that they write is about how they hate each other. So you listen to like Rumours, most of it is kind of like, you're a bitch, you're a dick, you're a bitch, you're a dick. And it's just on and on and on. Great songs though. Love a little bit of Fleetwood Mac.
We even get the music trivia for you on this show.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know. But yes, National Lampoon's Vacation, 40 years old this week.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel not quite as old as I usually am when you pull out the 40s. But what do we have next, which I'm guessing is going to be from 30 years?
Yes, 30 years ago this week. Okay, I'm going to reach for this one because I don't know if you've seen this one or not. So this is the wild card, I guess. 30 years ago this week, a movie called Rising Sun was released.
Wait, is that the Sean Connery one?
Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes.
I have seen it, but it has been so long ago, I can barely remember anything about it. All I know is that Sean Connery is like a Japanese expert, and I think there's stuff with the Yakuza involved in Los Angeles or somewhere like that over in America, and it's a cultural clash thing where Connery's going, no, you need to understand this about the Japanese. Yes. Wesley Snipes all like, what the fuck do you want from me?
Yeah, that's actually the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah, there we go. Right. So 20 years.
Rising Sun. It was directed by Philip Kaufman. Philip Kaufman directed the fantastic movie The Right Stuff in 1983, I believe it was. Right. Also, The Unbearable Lightness of Being. Also, the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Leonard Nimoy with no glowing rock.
Is that the same one that had Donald Sutherland in it?
Yes.
Yes! Oh, brilliant, that one.
It is brilliant. And also, one for you, Steve. Philip Kaufman was also the writer of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, he was. A story by George Lucas, written by Philip Kaufman.
There you go. This was obviously based on the Michael Crichton book. Michael Crichton was all over Hollywood around this time. This is when they were really going after all the authors. So you had Tom Clancy, you had John Grisham, Stephen King, and of course, Michael Crichton. Yes, Jurassic Park, everything else. The big thing about this is I had read the book. I read the book before the movie came out and then went to see the movie.
Okay, good.
And no, I was such a fucking intellectual back in the day. There was a bit of a to-do here because they changed the murderer from the book.
Okay, I can't remember who the murderer was in the film, so do enlighten us.
Well, no, we're not going to reveal anything here, so people might want to see this. We don't do spoilers.
It's 30 years I've forgotten. All right, fine, yeah, okay.
So, well, basically, there was a lot of changes done from the actual book. The book is a hell of a lot better. Michael Crichton and his writer ended up leaving this project, and it was due to the changes, especially changing the character that goes on to become Wesley Snipes was originally a white character. And Michael Crichton thought that, hang on, this story is talking about, how the racial differences between white people and the Japanese, and now you've brought a black person into it and added a completely new dynamic here, which has diluted that main storyline and everything else, which was a good point. If you've read the book, it is a good point. And especially when Wesley Snipes decides, we're getting tailed by these, we'll call them Yakuza or Japanese hoods or whatever. We're going to take them into a black ghetto neighborhood where they're going to get jacked by a lot of black gang members. And it was like, yeah, okay, that's a bit wrong. Philip Kaufman also did The Wanderers.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that, which you can find out in this episode here, I guess. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head.
That one. But if you've seen The Wanderers, obviously you had the character that was played by Tony Ganios,
Leave the kid alone.
Chewing his toothpick guy. The big muscle that was in The Wanderers. But funnily enough, that actor, Tony Ganios, actually shows up in Rising Sun chewing the exact same toothpick. And when interviewed about it, Tony Ganios says, yeah, it's the same character. And it's like, how can it be the same character? That guy was set in the 1950s, and this guy's in 1993, and he looks exactly the same age. How can it be the same character, Tony? Tell us.
Time travel, and
well, it's Michael Crichton.
It is. Yeah.
He'd know. Speaking of which, Rising Sun, obviously being 1993, it was released the same year as Jurassic Park in the cinemas.
Which you said that Rising Sun was better in book form than it was in movie form. I'm going to argue that the book of Jurassic Park, while not as suspenseful, and I think it is an exceptional movie, I honestly think the book has just way more depth to it than the film does. You should stick to kind of like writing and directing like he did with Westworld.
This movie, obviously, this was around that time when every movie seemed to feature both Harvey Keitel and Steve Buscemi together.
Okay, I find nothing to object to that way.
There's a fantastic score in this movie by Toru Takemitsu. If you like your Asian-themed soundtracks, you should like this. Oh, and there's one for you, Steve.
Okay. You're laughing. I don't like it when you start laughing.
Do you remember many episodes ago we were talking about you'd always have like random little Japanese actors in there. You'd always know their face, but never know.
Like Al Leong and Gerald Okamura.
Yes. And you mentioned Clyde Kasatsu in one.
Wait,
and I said one day we're going to come across a film that has him in, and I'm just going to shout his name out.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Oh my god.
It's the Alzheimer's creeping in.
Yeah. Those who know Philip Kaufman, everyone knows that his movies usually are exceptionally long. So he would always deliver a movie 2.5 hours long to 3 hours long in a lot of cases. This was one of the first times I ever remembered that he was contractually obligated by 20th Century Fox to deliver a 2-hour movie. And he still delivered 2 hours and 11 minutes, for those who can't do the math. Yes, there are plenty of kind of Japanese racial stereotypes in there that when you watch it now, it's just like, I mean, it starts off with Shang Tsung singing karaoke, for God's sake.
Yes.
Flawless victory.
Yes. Kerry Takawa.
Oh, I forgot to mention Tia Carrera's in this movie as well.
Yeah, it just goes to prove how long it's been since I've seen it. I don't remember a bloody thing.
Yeah, you also got people like Ray Wise in there. There's a really good cast, and there is nothing better than seeing Sean Connery shout Japanese to Japanese people in his Scottish accent.
He knows how to speak Japanese. He's all that time over there flogging whiskey.
That's very true.
Yes.
We all saw You Only Live Twice.
Yes.
But yes,
Domo arigato, yes.
Rising Sun, I mean, it's not a critically acclaimed movie. It's a kind of film that's just kind of been forgotten about nowadays. I saw it on a combined... I know we mentioned this just recently, where we talked about DVD sets that would have 3 movies. You know, one was essential, one was all right, and then one's a movie you've never heard about. The lead-in movie for this box set was Marked for Death. Steven Seagal. Rising Sun was the second movie, and then Unlawful Entry was the third movie. The third movie was
I've
the
seen
best
that porno.
movie. Unlawful Entry and her Rising Sun left me marked for dead. Yeah, I mean it's a flawed movie, but it's it's worth checking out. I think it's on Disney Plus nowadays. Not to promote Disney Plus, but if you wanted to check it out, that's where you'll find it, being an old Fox movie.
Okay. Right, well, in that case, that is 2 down. What do we have? And I'm guessing this is going to be from 20 years ago, yes?
20 years ago, correct. You're getting the format, finally, after 6 seasons.
Only took me 87 episodes.
20 years ago, when American Pie The Wedding was released.
Okay, I've actually got quite a soft spot for this film. I don't know why. And the thing is with the American Pie films, when they were released, I was in the exact perfect age bracket for them.
Personally, none of those films are good.
No, I didn't say they were actually good. I was just saying they came out at the right time.
Yeah, the testosterone teen years, I guess, early 20s and stuff like that. American Wedding, the third American Pie movie out of 50 of them, I guess now, was directed by Jesse Dillon. Jesse Dillon since went on to do a Will Ferrell movie called Kicking and Screaming. He also did the Method Man and Redman movie How High, which has kind of got a cult status about it. Mainly did a lot of music videos. So he did music videos for Will I Am, including the Yes We Can video. more people will probably not know that Jesse Dillon is actually Bob Dylan's son.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
I would
right.
never have put Bob Dylan's son down for directing an American Pie movie, but hey.
Dad, I've got a gig directing a film. Yeah, but sorry?
You need a cover of American Pie.
Yeah. As we sail into the mystic. That was Van Morrison. I don't care, it's mine now. Yeah. No, I quite like this. And
Sorry to any Bob Dylan fans.
no, fuck him, he's a whiner. No, I actually have a soft spot for this movie simply because that it's like a wedding that we all want to have, but nobody can afford at all. No, think about it. It's in a country house somewhere by the sea. It's lovely weather. You know, everything's all kind of like drapes and big floral displays and all that. And you think, yeah, this would be nice. This would be the kind of wedding you get to like have your mates stay over and then everyone gets hammered and everyone has a great time. Yeah,
Yes.
less so the
And you don't
pubes
have
on
to
the
invite half
cake.
your mates as well,
No.
because half of them didn't come back. So you got no Chris Klein, you got no Mina Savari, you got no Tara Reid, you got no Natasha Lyonne, you got no Shannon Elizabeth.
You basically just have Eugene Levy. That's it.
Yeah, no, the Shermanator doesn't even show up in this movie.
But yeah, none of them really came back until American Pie: The Reunion.
You almost didn't even get Stifler back for this movie. Sean William Scott, he was, I don't think he was too happy with American Pie 2. I think he was just kind of like, oh, you know, I don't want to do this, and I want to go and do Dude, Where's My Car? and whatever movies, and I got to go and do a movie with The Rock as well. But he had a lot of disinterest following American Pie 2. But they did coerce him into coming back. I'm guessing he got a main payday. And to be honest, the movie is more about him than anything else.
Yeah.
He is the main character in this. He has obviously that great disco dance-off scene, which I think is the main point of this movie, exists just for that.
And speaking of which, it took me ages after seeing this film to work out where I knew the other fella from. And it turned out that he played Thor in the Incredible Hulk Thor crossover TV movie.
Oh, my God.
Yes!
Really?
With the whole kind of... It's basically, let me get this. It's like that. I am Thor, God of Thunder!
I've always wondered why that was behind you. Now I know. You've built up to that.
It's a lambskin. It's a lambskin that my partner got for reasons I don't bloody know. But yeah, there it is. But yeah, that was him. That's him. He didn't wear assless chaps when he did the Hulk, but
that's how the Hulk prefers to get done. But yeah,
Hulk smash.
This is a point, I think, where it became a Sean William Scott vehicle. And probably rightfully so, because without him in this movie, it would have sucked, no matter how much I adore Alison Hannigan and Eugene Levy, I guess. I wouldn't have watched it any other way. And it was a box office success. You know, it made something like $231 million worldwide.
Oh, that's good.
Out of all of the American Pie films, excluding the direct-to-DVD ones like Bandcamp, Naked Mile, whatever the other ones are. This is actually the lowest grossing film in the franchise.
I'm going to guess that the second one's probably the highest.
I'd say so, they usually are. But,
strong
I mean,
opener.
it might be... I'd put that down to no Shannon Elizabeth, because she was the standout star at the time, but boy, her career flatlined after...
I don't actually think many of them had strong careers after that. I think Sean William Scott was the one that got off the lightest, but even he kind of disappeared off the radar for years, right up until he had to take over from, what's his name, Kane Crawford, who was in the Lethal Weapon TV series.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, and then he took over it wasn't the Riggs part, but he was kind of like the foil to Murtaugh. I hadn't seen him in anything for years up until that point, and ever since then, now he's just disappeared back off into the ether. I had no idea what he's doing at the moment.
Well, no, it was in The Goon and its sequel. It was in The Rundown with The Rock, or Welcome to the Jungle, as it was known here in the UK. So he still did have roles, and he was in Role Models as well with Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
so
I quite
he
like that one.
was still getting roles, but not at the level. Natasha Lyonne has only just had her huge comeback with Russian Doll. Tara Reid is, now trying to charge us shitloads of money, so we'll interview her for a thing. Sorry, Tara, that's a no. Go back to Sharknado. Mina Suvari, unfortunately, she was incredible in stuff like American Beauty. She did a great movie for a friend of mine, Stuart Gordon, the late Stuart Gordon, called Stuck, which is a brilliant movie. But unfortunately, she hasn't, lasted on top. Shannon Elizabeth now more into her equestrian stuff. And Chris Klein, well, we've just got to say two words: rollerball. And let's also talk about that role in Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. Or better, let's not.
Let's not. No.
I'm not a fan of the American Pie franchise. As much as I wasn't a fan of the Porky's franchises either. That doesn't make me like a stiff or anything. No pun intended. Just the kind of jokes in this one, they're just kind of relegated to eating a dog shit truffle, or pubic hairs on a wedding cake, or that scene where Stifler bangs a geriatric granny in a cupboard.
Yeah, they really were kind of like the lower end of it, but they were never highbrow cinema anyway to begin with. They were aimed at frat bros,
and that scene made it a hit.
Yeah, it worked. They made the movies, they got the money, they made a few people famous for a short amount of time. Yeah, they did their job. That's pretty much all you can really say about them.
So, okay, well, we've got to kind of whittle it down to 10 years now for our last one.
Yeah. And what is it?
10 years ago, the movie Two Guns was released.
No, you're right, I haven't seen it.
Of course you haven't. This was the movie...
Hey, I've done well this week.
If I'd have stuck to 3, you would have won this week. So I threw in the wild card. That was Two Guns. The movie that was the throwback to the buddy formula, starring Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg. It was unmemorable. Wasn't exactly 48 Hours. Wasn't exactly a Lethal Weapon, or wasn't even Red Heat. It was directed by let's see if I get this name right, Baltazar Kormakur. Got it right. Directed a lot of foreign cinema. You may have seen Jar City, Trapped, Hapio. He's an Icelandic director.
Do I look like I've seen any of those films?
No.
May have seen.
Not at all.
I've not seen anything, you know this.
It is a comic book movie, kind of loosely based. It also has a kind of little nod to a Walter Matthau film called Charlie Varick, which is very good. I know a lot of people might not have seen it. It's from the early 70s. It's worth checking out. What was interesting about this is it's kind of that tonal shift, because this was not like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but this was, I think, kind of originally envisioned as a comedy buddy movie, because originally supposed to be in these roles were Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. We fucking needed that pairing again.
Wow.
We get it. You did one funny movie, Wedding Crashers, and then that's it. And funny was pushing it. And it is a buddy movie. It's just kind of forgettable. I've already forgotten most of it, and I saw it last week.
I've forgotten everything that you've told me up until now.
If I was going to pick noticeable stuff from this, I mean, this was the last movie to have Fred Ward in it.
Ah. Really?
Yes.
When did he
Which was
die?
shocking, actually. Years later. But this was the last movie he was in. So he obviously took his time away from acting following this movie. Which says a lot.
Was this round about the time that he got caught, shall we say, interfering with himself in public?
No, legal might be on this. Because if it's
sorry,
not the right
sorry. No, I'm getting mixed up with Fred Willard. Sorry. Wrong Fred. To the best of my knowledge, no, Fred Ward did not pleasure himself at a bus stop.
We would have gone to the cinema like the rest of us.
Yes.
But no, this was the last movie of the great Fred Ward of Southern Comfort and Tremors. And Remo Williams and all those great movies.
Tremors 2.
Oh, yeah, he was in Tremors 2 as well.
Naked Gun 33 and a third.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's also kind of got a decent score as well. Clinton Shorter did that. Despite it being forgettable, I mean, it was a box office success. 61 million budget, and it made 131 million. So it made its money back and more.
Okay.
But it was just so average. It was just missing something. And I think it's because the last great buddy movie I saw before that was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and you just can't beat that dialogue. You cannot beat the Shane Black dialogue in a movie like that until The Nice Guys came along, I guess. Two Guns, it exists as a movie. It didn't exactly change the world. It'll easily pass 2 hours by, and you'll be entertained, but you just won't remember much about it afterwards.
Okay, so that was 3 really good films. So next time that you are looking for something to watch, then just go for the 3 films that Andy has made. You're completely missing the fact that I've completely forgotten what the 4th one was.
Two Guns.
You see, that was the whole joke.
Yeah.
Oh God, never mind. Let's just go straight to finding out what's in the box.
What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the box? Well, we know for a fact it's not going to be that long before you get the feedback from What's in the Box this time.
No.
Because these are Steve's exclusive shows now. This is it. His role in life is to watch movies and talk about them.
Speaking of which, Andy is going to pull out the name of a movie from a box which he certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. And if I haven't seen it, then I go away and watch it the day before we record our next episode. But if I have seen it, then we keep pulling out names until we find one that I haven't. Saying that, though, all these are good films. I've recently found out that Pluto.tv exists, which is a free streaming service, which is available here in the UK.
For good reason.
For good reason. And it's, from what I gather, it's kind of like Tubi, but we don't get Tubi over here. And it's movies and TV shows with adverts, so you don't need to sign up or anything. But I was just having a flick through the movies. Oh my God! It is just a smorgasbord of B-movie shit, and I am in heaven. There's an entire section of Shark Attack films, and I was watching this going, oh my God, I've stumbled across the Holy Grail. Oh, I cannot wait to start watching this shit.
You wait until you reach the movie Shark Attack 3 with this amazing chat-up line.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, me too, but, I'm really wired. What do you say I take you home and eat?
Well, I've decided, because me and another person were kind of describing now the fact that you're only doing 2 shows a month.
Don't start screwing with the formula, bro.
I'm not screwing with the formula. I'm just amending it a little bit because we like to keep things fresh.
Oh God, what are you doing? What are you doing now? 'Cause I don't know anything about this.
No, this is fresh on you. So we decided, you know what? Seeing as though now he has like 2 weeks before he has to come back, giving him 1 film really isn't fair.
Oh
so
no,
we decided,
we
you know
haven't
what?
got the time to do 2. What are you doing to me?
We will. So now you're going to have 2 drawers. 1 for each week, and you're going to report on both of those movies when your episode comes up next. And this was kind of half my idea, and the other person said, yeah, get him to fucking do it. Get him doing
This
some
was
work.
Jonas, wasn't it?
I'm not saying who, I promised I would.
Jonas, you bitch.
Nice. Jonas, I didn't even say your name. I'm just putting that out there.
No, but this is the kind of evil thing that you would do. Both of you, I can picture it. Joanne, she's too nice to do this.
You'll never know. Right? So yes, now you're getting 2. So, now that we've explained the rules, can we have the music, please? Ding, ding, ding.
All right. I'm gonna lodge a formal protest with the union. You know this, don't you?
Oh shit. Well, for number 1, we have. This is ironic, actually. We had a Coen Brothers film come out as the number 1.
Yeah.
Raising Arizona.
Oh, yes! But I've got to be honest, it has been so long, I can't really remember much of it. I do remember that I really enjoyed it, and Randall Tex Cobb was just fucking hilarious, but...
Well, too bad you've seen it.
Yeah, shit.
So, you don't get that one.
No.
Okay. Let's do number 2. No, just 1, thank you. Okay. Oh, you so nearly had a 2007. But you just missed it by a year, so we're going back to 2006. I don't think you've seen this one because it's very indie. Movie starring Maggie Gyllenhaal. It's called Sherry Baby.
No.
Okay, that's your first one.
I shouldn't have said anything and just rewatched Raising Arizona, really, shouldn't I?
Honesty is key on this show. We will not lie. Will we, Fred Ward? Okay. Are you ready? So your second movie. Oh, okay. The year 2000.
Yeah.
The movie stars Michael Douglas, and it's called Wonder Boys.
No, is that the one with Tobey Maguire in it?
Yes, and Robert Downey Jr.
Yes. Oh, good night.
Frances McDormand, who's married to one of the
Coen brothers. I think is it Ethan Coen?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. On a side note, actually, the Coen brothers were very, very, very close friends with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, and they originally wanted Frances McDormand to be in Evil Dead, but I think she was off doing some other work and she couldn't be in there. I think they wanted her to be Cheryl.
Yes. Holly Hunter was also a close friend of that group as well at the time.
Yep. And I think it was Ethan Coen also was one of the editors on the original Evil Dead.
Yes.
So there you go.
Okay, so you've got Sherry Baby and Wonder Boys.
Wonder Boy, what is the secret of your power? Wonder Boy.
This is great because we haven't heard for a while what Amanda has thought of these films that you've been watching. So these are 2 films that she'd probably enjoy too.
Okay. Well, seeing as how Andy has completely changed the rules on me, you bastard. We will be getting into the nitty-gritty on those 2 films next time you see me. But between now and then, we will be introducing Joe Parker on her first episode, deep delving into the joy, and I'm going to keep doing these inverted commas for as long as it takes, because the movie, oh my god, the bat is the joy of Batman and Robin. That is coming next week with Bill Daly, our old friend Bill Daly, who we're very, very glad to see back, actually, because it's been... When was the last time that we had Bill on?
It was a Fair Game episode.
It was Fair Game, which for some reason is the highest viewed episode that we've done so far. I don't know why.
You guys love Fair Game.
It's the shot of Cindy Crawford, I'm sure it is.
Maybe it is. Maybe we'll have to put the bad cod piece on the next image. See if it gets better. But yes, it was a great episode. We've actually recorded that one already. Yes. That will be available next week. And I will state again, as I said at the beginning of the show, I was dreadfully ill during that episode.
You were awful. You really were. You were close to death.
Yeah, I can honestly say I've never felt that bad in my life, including when I had COVID. And there was various points where I was literally just like leaning up against my microphone because I just was trying so hard. I slurred through my words so many times. but it
was
was
slimming your worms.
Shredding my worms. But we got through it, and it's a fun episode. And it was Joe's fault because she said that was like the crown jewel of her bad DVD collection. So I thought, oh well, it's a timely thing now with the whole Batman thing and the whole death of superhero movies that is on the horizon. We thought, why don't we go back to the last time that happened?
It's inevitable. It is going to happen. I know loads of you out there love Marvel and DC, but we've reached the tipping point now. Nobody's been interested in Phase 4. Everything between Endgame and Quantumania, no one's given a shit about. Let's be perfectly honest. Shang-Chi was drivel. Eternals was drivel. Spider-Man was alright, just no one cared about the rest of it. They were just going, oh, look, it's Doc Ock and the old Spider-Mans. Oh, yeah. The rest of it, awful.
Yeah, the problem is it's being written by people with no real life experience. And
No.
I don't think any experience of how a conversation really actually flows.
But anyway, yes, superhero movies aside, meh. We've got a lot coming up this series. We've got 2 new presenters, like I said at the top. We've got Joe and we've got Jonas. Both are going to be coming to us with completely fresh viewpoints and new different tastes, and you are going to absolutely love them, so just stay tuned here on YouTube. And if you want to discuss with us anything that you have heard throughout this episode, then you know where to go. You can go to facebook.com/Poddywood. You can go to x.com/. What the hell are you doing, Elon? x.com? Seriously? There is a game called XCOM. You know this. x.com. Oh, I retweeted something. Oh, I re-X'd it. It doesn't make any sense. Tweet was already a fucking verb. You've ruined it. You've taken a country, a corporate entity that everyone was relating to, and you've screwed it up the arse. Well done. Congratulations. Enjoy your ecstasy. Anyway, you can also get us on LinkedIn, the subreddit. That's gone. That was a victim of the old little subreddit problems from ages ago. Out of my control. Anyway, that's done. So yeah. So right now you can really just get in touch with us on Facebook. That's my entire list. Bollocks, really.
Well, the good news is we also have the Patreon. Poddywood After Darks, back in our luxurious jazz bar setting. We hear the doors are ready to open once again, which is good news for us too, because we were the only 2 fucking people that went to that bar.
Yeah.
So
we were the only 2 that listened to it as well.
This is true. But come join us. It's fun.
Yes.
And we may have people just dropping in and out here and there. So the Patreon really helps us. Price of a cup of coffee. It helps us pay to reach wider audiences. And speaking of wider audiences, come on, we need your subscriptions. We're steadily growing. I notice the numbers are going up. Yes, you all love tuning in and listening to the episodes, but we need you to subscribe so you know when episodes are coming up. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't change your life in any way, but it certainly changes ours. And if you like what you hear, just throw us a subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, because at the moment, as soon as we reach a certain threshold with the subs, it completely changes the algorithm, which means we get out to more people, which means then we get more subscribers. So we need you to help us by just clicking on that button. Just do it. It's a click. That's all you're doing. What have you got to lose? Absolutely nothing.
Yes.
But between all of the good stuff coming up and right now, I do want to say that it is really, really good to be back for Series 6. I cannot wait to see what the new blood is going to be giving us as we're going on.
On the new trademarked Poddywood show. We got there, finally, says my bank card. But yeah, join us next week. Bill Daly, Batman and Robin, with Joe Parker. It is a great episode. There's a lot of clarification on a lot of stories there, and even a few jokes about bat nipples and bat card pieces and and everything else you want to know about that production.
So with that in mind, I will not be here on the next episode, but Joe will be, and so we shall see you all then. You take care. Bye.
Leave the kid alone.